Hey, how's it going, guys? It's been a minute. How you guys been? It is good to be back. All right, so today we're gonna talk about 4 gimbal accessories that's gonna maximize your gimbal experience or your functionality of your gimbal. Now, some of these accessories are slightly unconventional, but you know me on this channel. I like to try new things. So most of these accessories should work with DJI or Zhiyun gimbals or other brand gimbals. And all these accessories are minimalistic design and run and gun style videoing. I'm not gonna be talking about like dual handle accessories with all kinds of gear and monitors on top. That's maybe for a separate video. We'll keep it simple today and single handle. Now, if you're looking for a shorter form of this video, I have a shorts about this, so check out that video right here when I'm done with it. But on this video, we're gonna hang out, chill out, and tell some stories behind some of these accessories, so I'll give you a little bit more context and I'll go over the details that you need to know, because some of these are make or break kind of situation depending on these details. Now, the first accessory is gonna be Apple AirTag, and on this gimbal there's actually an Apple AirTag. Can you see it? Yeah, you can probably see it because it's white. So it's stuck right behind that motor right there, and it goes in there perfectly. It's like match made in heaven. When I first saw the shape of this, yeah, and I was like, oh my goodness, it fits perfectly on my Weebill too, because it's got that little divot on the motor. And if you have a DJI gimbal like RSC2 or RS2, they do have a motor divot, so it's gonna fit there perfectly. And all I done was really put automotive 3M double-sided tape and put it on there, and guys, it's stuck on there good. It's not coming out. And you might be thinking, okay, where in the world are you gonna lose a gimbal? And that's what I used to think too, until things happen twice. And if you guys didn't know, I shoot for Envu Films as a second shooter, and these things happen a lot. And if you guys shoot weddings, you might relate to this. And a lot of these weddings, guys, we sit down and we eat vendor meal really quick. I mean, like, you got like 3 minutes to eat that and you better be ready to go, you know what I mean? So you rushing out of there thinking like the gimbal and the camera is back where the dance floor is, but it's not. And you're like, oh crap, where's my gimbal and camera? No worries, I got this. So you pull out your phone, launch that Find My app, and here it is. The app will tell you exactly where the gimbal is, and you'll look super cool finding your gimbal because you use an app. Now, some of you guys like me might be slightly skeptical, because if you know Apple AirTag, it does have a slight magnetic property. So you might be thinking like, okay, this is magnet, the motor's magnet to magnet, is that gonna slow the motor down or degrade any kind of performance? So I did have to double check. So I took out the cover to see what's actually right behind it, and behind this cover is a circuitry and not the motor's magnet. So it's not magnet to magnet, and clearly that circuitry is allowed to be next to a magnet, which is the motor, so it's fine. So I did have to check that for Weebill too. This thing is gonna save me many times. All right, so the second accessory is gonna be by Ulanzi. This is Falcon F38 quick release plate. They make one for DJI, they also make one for Zhiyun. And if you guys saw my last Weebill 2 review video, I was heartbroken when Zhiyun decided to go with just a solid like Manfrotto plate. So this is great if you have Manfrotto tripods. This is also great because it's solid, it's very sturdy. However, this was the Weebill S plate, right? So Weebill S had the Manfrotto base plate, but on top of it was Arca Swiss, and it's just a single button. Just push one button and the whole thing comes off, and you're able to put this on a tripod right away or handheld. Like, it's one button, guys. Whereas in the Manfrotto plate, you gotta undo the lever and take it out, and you're not gonna be able to go back to exactly where it is every single time. So I saw this by Ulanzi, and then I contacted Ulanzi. I don't usually do that with brands, but I was like, Ulanzi, you gotta let me try this. And I did, and this thing is pretty amazing, guys. It comes with the base plate that goes onto your camera. So this is a standard 38mm Arca Swiss plate, and all it does is just beautifully locks. And it's not going anywhere. It's pretty solid. Now, if you have a huge lens like this thing is originally from Zhiyun, right? So Zhiyun does ship with this lens support bracket that goes on here. But because Ulanzi made this for Zhiyun gimbals, this is a perfect fit. There's a 1/4-20 thread right there that's perfect for this. So you can put that on there technically. Now, this does add one more step. So when you want to quick release this camera out of this plate, you do have to undo the lens support bracket, and you just push this button here and the whole thing comes out. That way you can go handheld or just put it on your Arca Swiss tripod, right? Now there is a slight flaw with that plate, and it's not really Ulanzi's fault, which I'll talk about at the end of the video. But let's talk about the next accessory. So next accessory is the Zhiyun quick release plate. This is trans mount quick release plate. And this actually, it doesn't matter what brand gimbal you have. You can use this for DJI or Zhiyun or any other brand, as long as you have a 1/4 thread for your tripod on your gimbal. So there are two parts to this. So this is the base. It's basically male and female. So you have the male part and the female part, and I already have this on my gimbal. And I put the male part and female part right between the tripod, and this whole thing, just pressing down the top, comes off. And this part here, I can also put it where the underslung is, and right there, you're ready to go underslung. Now, I also talked about this on my Weebill 2 review video, how Weebill 2 does ship with this underslung handle. Now, if you get a certain package, it comes with this very nice underslung handle. This thing is solid, beautifully designed. Problem is, it's not a quick release as much as I like it to be. Yes, there's a lever you can undo and take it out, but you have to really force it out because it's in there pretty tight. So on a run and gun shoot, for me, it's not ideal because I don't like having a tripod, extra tripod sticking out of the gimbal and being on my face. So I love the fact that I can do this. And this was beautifully done on Weebill S, right? So when I saw Weebill 2, I was like, I don't know. So I wanted to maximize my experience with Weebill 2, so I had to get this. However, if you saw my review video, you'll know that if you try to put this on there originally, it's not gonna fit because the screen, when you fold it in, it's gonna hit that base plate. So I did have to space it out. So I told you guys that I was gonna have a solution, and now I do. And the solution is this super simple washer. And this isn't any kind of washer, actually. This is a really tough material, nylon plastic. So the reason I picked this is because if it's a metal, it's gonna scratch the gimbal. And if it's rubber, there's just too much give. So I just put this between the base plate, and it gives just enough space so the screen doesn't actually hit the base plate. And a little warning, whether you use DJI gimbal or Zhiyun gimbal about this quick release plate, is that there is a little bit of give. Like if you twist it, it's gonna come off, right? So what I've done here is put some Loctite on both ends, so it's in there. Obviously it's not permanent like super glue, but it does give you a little bit of resistance, so it's not gonna spin out. And I wouldn't recommend this for like really like heavy duty usage, like if you have a car rig, and I wouldn't do that for a car rig because after that many vibration, it will come loose. So I would only do it for light camera, handheld. All right, so the fourth accessory is gonna be this magic arm. This particular magic arm, and not any kind of magic arm, and let me explain why. So I like to capture BTS footage of my gimbaling, whether I'm filming gigs or weddings. I just love that. And I used to not want to do that because it's just an extra thing you gotta think about, because I'm really focused on just like capturing what I'm paid for, right? Until I met Insta360 1X2. So this camera, if you mount this on here, all you gotta do is just press that one button right here. Just once, and it'll automatically start the recording 360, so you don't have to worry about like what you're capturing. And then it also gives this really cool effect where the camera looks like it's floating next to the gimbal. Now, problem with most magic arm, this is a small rig magic arm, nothing wrong with small rigs, just this particular one, is that if you look at the thread, the way you mount this on the gimbal is that you would have to twist the whole entire mechanism down to the base. Problem with that, when you want to get it really tight, you start to twist that towards the end, it's going to strip that rubber, because most gimbals other than DJI have the teeth around this 1/4. So this magic arm is particularly good because you don't have to twist the whole entire mechanism. All you gotta do is twist this knob, which internally spins the 1/4 thread right into the gimbal. You can get your hex tool and just tighten that real good, because you know you got plenty of these, right? And there you have it, guys. So if you follow me on Instagram, you've seen plenty of BTS footage using this exact setup. And the magic arm is just thin enough, so it's barely in the shot. But I love how secure this is in there. And I love the fact that it doesn't strip the rubber in between. And you can just take it out easily. And it's at this perfect length. This arm is about 4.8 inches. So it's just far enough so it feels like there's a camera floating next to the gimbal, but it's not too far so that your gimbal's like off from the center. All right, so the last accessory is a bonus because this is the 5th one, and that is this Tilta camera cage. And technically, yes, this is a camera accessories, but I'll explain why this becomes a gimbal accessory. But first, let me mount this on my Sony a7S III and let me show you. All right, cage is on and we are back on. And I did put the Ulanzi F38 camera plate on there so I can show you. I mentioned that there's a flaw on this thing, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and dock this thing. And to show you the flaw, I did attach the focus motor or zoom motor, in my case, on here. So if you noticed, the focus motor is part of the base plate, right? So it came from the base plate of the quick release system that if you want to quickly undock this, yeah, I can't because the motor's on the way. Now, which isn't Ulanzi's fault because this is what Zhiyun or most of the gimbal brand, they'll make you attach it to the front of the base plate and this is where it goes. That's one issue. So it's on the way when you're trying to do a quick release. The second issue is that because I'm not using this for actual focus ring, which is here at the front of the camera, and I'm actually using this for zoom ring, which is usually on most lenses other than Tamron, it's closer to the camera body, which means that the distance, the fulcrum point is at the front and the motor is at the back. You're not gonna get a lot of leverage and you're gonna grind the gear a lot of times. You could rubber band it like my method, but it's just not an ideal situation here. So here's the solution. So on this Tilta cage, and this particular cage is made for Sony a7S III. Now there are some other solutions for Canon and Panasonic or Blackmagic, whatever camera you have, which I'm gonna talk about in a second. There is a pre-hole right here. This is a standard 15mm rod. So most cinema rigs will have 15mm. However, for gimbal, focus, zoom motor rod, this is not standard 15mm. So what I have to do is make that thicker by putting an aluminum, which is metal tape around the actual rod so it fits there and it's in there pretty tight. This ain't going anywhere. So I'm gonna put my focus motor actually directly on the cage, which is very close to the camera body, and yeah, it's solidly in there. And I do actually put rubber band around this so it doesn't actually grind the gear. But look how quickly I can detach this thing. So if you do have a lens support bracket, I just unscrew that and just push one button and the whole entire thing comes off. That way you can do your handheld shot or put this on a tripod, and when you're ready to go back on the gimbal, you can put this right on the dock and it's ready to go. Bam. So again, this is for Sony a7S III cage for Tilta. Now, if you have a Canon or other cameras, they don't have that hole exactly on that cage. However, Tilta does sell a separate attachment for 15mm rod accessories. So whether that goes on the top or the side, whatever lens choices you may be, you might be able to get that accessory and have the same setup and you're ready to go also. So I talked about a lot of accessories and knickknacks, and I know it's hard to find some of these. So all the items that we talked about today are going to be in the description below. In fact, Ulanzi did actually send me a coupon code. So if you're interested in Ulanzi quick release plate, there's a coupon code there for you. If you found this video to be any helpful, please consider giving it a like. It's a huge help to this channel. So let me know in the comments if you guys shoot weddings or plan on shooting wedding, because this year I shot tons of wedding and I clearly got a lot of behind the scene footage. So I'd love to help you guys out. Until next time, guys, stay stable. Get it? Because it's a gimbal, stable. Yeah. See ya.